Here we go then, another episode of my F1 Retro Can I Beat the Pole Lap series. And today we're here at Budapest, the Hungaroring, the 2009 Hungarian Grand Prix to be precise. A session, a weekend which had a bit of everything and was, historic for F1 for weird reasons. Of course, the main one is Felipe Massa getting in that accident where a spring hit his helmet and, of course, crashed into the barrier and unfortunately missed the rest of the season, which was, a dark day in F1 in terms of safety, but also just extremely unfortunate. But the other thing that happened, which people don't really talk about nowadays, is Q3. In Q3, there was a blackout, creating essentially a massive question mark over the timing system. Nobody knew who got pole. There was literally no idea. Everyone was guessing. There was no timing systems that were working, and everything was just a big mystery up in the air. So, with that in mind, we're going to try and beat Fernando Alonso's pole lap, because it was decided afterwards that he was the man who set the quickest time. Eventually they recovered some lap times and they discovered Alonso set a 1:21.569. So with that in mind, let's get to it and let's set a banker and see what we can do. So currently we're on hard tyres, a completely stock default setup. We're going to try it and see if we can challenge it, and then eventually we'll work our way down on tyres and make a quicker setup and try to beat the time as we get turn 1 horribly wrong there with a huge lock up on the way in. Going to use some curves on the way out to make up for it. Turn 2, lots of understeer there, the front end is just not cooperating. Turn 3, we keep it within track limits. Now turn 4. Oh, okay, that's a lot of understeer. Let's just try to reel it in a bit. Scruffy lap so far. Obviously we're not going to beat it on our first attempt, so no surprises there. Through the chicane, second gear, float through, carry the speed. Now through the sweeping corners in sector 2. This is all about flow, having a comfortable setup where you can really throw the car in through those corners and let the downforce and the tyres do the work. On the anchors, at 90-degree right to start off sector 3. Now the tyres are starting to just slowly come up to temperature and give us a bit of performance. Final corner. I might go for a second lap here. Now I've got a bit of tyre temperature. Use the last bit of the curves. I'm going to make a small brake bias adjustment just to move it slightly rearward, and that should help us out quite a bit. So let's go for a second one. Lock up into 1 again, but not as bad as last lap. We carry a better exit and more speed out the corner. Turn 2 also a bit closer to the apex there with the brake bias. Back end fighting on the way out. Let's see what the first sector split says. Up by 7/10, more like it. Nice and tight through 5, that's a lot better. A lot tiny bit of curves on the way out, just to give us a bit of juice up the hill into the chicane. Tidy lap, gonna hold it in 3rd. Also there, getting the apex. Right then, let's try and get a nice run through here onto the short back straight. Just like that, lovely stuff. On the anchors, up by a full second here already. Back end a little bit loose on the way in through the penultimate corner. Use the pit entry to widen the track as much as possible. And now the final corner, be patient. Lots of understeer with this tyre compound up to the line though, and it's a 22.7. We find 1.1 seconds, so a very good second attempt there. Now let's make some adjustments and let's see what we can change. I'm not going to lie, this feels very, very fast. I've made some adjustments. As you can see, we're on soft tyres now by the green stripes. I've significantly reduced the gearbox and hit the top of 7th gear. Also, a lot of wing has gone on, front and rear, a lot, which is going to help us out. Also, fuel is now accurate. Alonso did a 12-lap first stint in the race. I have about 14 laps of fuel in the car, so it's a lot more accurate. So now we're going to find out what we can do. I reckon we could already beat the lap on this attempt. It feels really grippy, really fast. So let's find out and see what we do. Break at the white line, that seems to be a decent reference. This time no lock up. A little bit cautious on the way out, but that's okay. Turn 2. Try and get the nose into the corner. There we go. Avoid that understeer and that front locking. On the way out. Nice and tidy. Slight little bump there. Just got to try and take a bit less inside curb. Sector 1 split is in. And we're up by 2/10. Oh, track limits was really marginal. I reckon I probably just slipped out, but let's keep pushing. There's going to be better laps in this probably. Chicane, second gear, aggressive over the curb's back end, slipping away slightly. Got to just drop into fourth there for a bit as we have a shorter gearbox. Didn't quite get all the apex there, so a little bit of time to be found. Hold it in fifth now through here as we have that shorter gearbox out of track limits again. Up by a second. I reckon this could beat it though. Just way more grip. Car is working well. Onto the corner, the nose just goes in and does what I ask. And now to the final corner. A little bit early there, went in. Got to get some understeer on the second half of the corner, but we take it to the line. And it's a 1:21.1. Already smashed it. What a difference a bit of wing makes. Now, do I try to go faster, or should I try and beat the overall best time from qualifying, which was a 1:20.3, I believe, in Q2. I think we've got to give it a shot, right? We've got to give it a shot, but that means emptying the fuel tank. Yeah, this feels very, very fast. On an empty tank, this feels like a downforce machine. We have to find pretty much 9/10. So let's send it, and let's see what happens. I reckon there'll be one more attempt after this, just to see how fast I can really go, but this will be my best attempt. I reckon I can probably beat the lap. The car feels fast, so let's try and deliver. Here we go then, down to turn 1. Didn't quite get all the apex, but it'll do. Decent corner speed being carried through there. Turn 2. Nice, good corner speed. Slight lock up on the way in. Took a slightly wider line through 3 to avoid that inside bump, which is a bit nasty. That was a lovely first sector. Through the fast left, 2/10 up. Through 5. Power down on the way out, curves. Take a bit of a wider line for the chicane to try not to unsettle the car, but it still kind of gets away from me a little bit. Through the swoopers, this time hitting all our apexes. Car is just a lot more agile. Oh, track limits. And we hit the barrier, and we crossed a split 4/10 up, even with a spin. So we'll go again. I'm going to focus and do a lap locked in, but I reckon we can get this into the 19s if I clean this up. Woof. And there's a little bit more in that. Turn 1 was a bit scruffy, so I want to try one more time. I'll take that. Great lap. Really nice lap. To be fair, I didn't actually gain that much in the first corner. I made a huge mistake on the last one, as you saw, but it didn't really change that much lap time wise, because I still carried decent speed, but there was a bit of time in the middle sector, so we managed to convert, and there we go. Job done. We beat both times, Q3 and Q2. Smashed it. Now, as always, we're going to run you through the setup. So I actually reduced the final gear ratio to minimum, the lowest it goes, which brings down all the gears and the top speed, but it means we hit 7th at the top a lot easier. Tyres were softs, hards in the first runs, pressures default, happy with the balance on those. Fuel, 10 litres for our eventual push lap, and on my, realistic Q3 lap, I ran, I believe it was 44 litres, so 13.6. It's obviously Alonso pit lap 12, but he wouldn't have pit that tight on fuel. He would have had some in the reserve. So yeah, aero, I increased both front and rear by 5, a huge increase, and that gained so much time. And then everything else is default besides brake bias on 54.5 in car adjustment, 54 in the setting, and then yeah, everything else is completely stock. But there we go, guys. That is it for today's episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Leave a like and subscribe. Down below you're going to have the links to the car and the track, so go check those out down below. Hopefully you enjoyed it, guys. This is going to be my last one for a little while. I'm going away starting tomorrow for my scheduled break, as you guys know. So yeah, I'll be back soon, hopefully in around a month's time. Until then, we'll see what happens. No promises on content. So take care, hopefully everything goes well. As always, a big shout out to the members for supporting the channel all this time and all the content that I make. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen, guys, if you haven't seen them already. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and let's go back from me.